Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, am I lying to myself? It's a question that might seem odd at first, but the truth is, self-deception is something we all engage in, often without even realizing it. In this video, we're going to explore how we lie to ourselves, why we do it, and most importantly, how to break free from these mental traps. Why we lie to ourselves. Let's begin by exploring why we lie to ourselves. At first glance, it might seem counterintuitive. Why would anyone intentionally deceive themselves? But the truth is, self-deception is rarely a conscious choice. Instead, it's often a subtle and automatic response rooted in our psychology. Self-deception acts as a psychological defense mechanism. It helps us manage uncomfortable emotions, preserve our self-esteem, and avoid facing truths that could disrupt our sense of self. For example, when we're faced with a situation that threatens our self-image, such as failing at a task or receiving criticism, our mind might distort the reality of the situation to protect our ego. This isn't necessarily about avoiding the truth entirely, but rather reshaping it in a way that feels safer and more manageable. Think about a time when you didn't do well on a project at work or school. Maybe you told yourself that the task wasn't that important, or that the expectations were unfairly high. By shifting the blame or minimizing the significance of the failure, you were able to maintain a sense of control and competence. This is a prime example of self-deception in action. But why does this matter? The issue with lying to ourselves is that it creates a gap between our perception and reality. While this might provide short-term comfort, it can have long-term consequences. By ignoring or distorting the truth, we limit our ability to learn from our experiences and grow. Over time, these small self-deceptions can accumulate, leading us further away from our true potential. In essence, self-deception is like wearing tinted glasses. It allows us to see the world in a way that feels less threatening, but it also distorts our vision, preventing us from seeing things as they truly are. This can result in missed opportunities, unaddressed problems, and a lack of genuine self-awareness. To truly understand and overcome self-deception, we first need to recognize that it's happening. This requires us to be brutally honest with ourselves and to develop a keen sense of self-awareness. Only then can we begin to bridge the gap between perception and reality, and start living more authentically. So, as we move forward, keep this in mind. Self-deception might protect us from discomfort in the short term, but in the long run, it's the truth that will set us free. By confronting the lies we tell ourselves, we open the door to real growth, meaningful change, and a deeper understanding of who we truly are. Common ways we lie to ourselves. Now that we understand why we lie to ourselves, let's explore some of the most common ways this self-deception manifests in our daily lives. You might be surprised at how frequently these behaviors show up, often in subtle forms that we don't even recognize as lies. I'll break down 5 specific ways we tend to deceive ourselves, and as you listen, think about whether any of these resonate with your own experiences. Justifying bad habits. The first and perhaps most relatable form of self-deception is justifying bad habits. Whether it's indulging in junk food, skipping the gym, or procrastinating on important tasks, we often create excuses to make these behaviors seem acceptable. For example, have you ever found yourself saying, "It's just one piece of cake, it won't make a difference," or "I'll start that project tomorrow when I'm feeling more motivated"? These little lies help us avoid the discomfort of self-discipline and make it easier to indulge in momentary pleasures. But the problem is that these justifications can quickly become patterns, leading to unhealthy habits that are hard to break. By rationalizing these behaviors, we're essentially giving ourselves permission to continue down a path that we know isn't in our best interest. It's a way of avoiding the effort required to change, but it also means we're likely to stay stuck in these unproductive cycles. Overestimating our abilities. Next, let's talk about overestimating our abilities. Confidence is important, but when it crosses the line into overconfidence, it can lead us into trouble. Imagine this scenario: you take on a project at work or school, feeling completely assured that you can handle it, only to realize halfway through that you're in over your head. Instead of admitting you might need help or additional time to complete it, you push forward, convinced you can manage it on your own. This is a classic example of overestimating your abilities. This kind of self-deception often comes from a desire to maintain a positive self-image or to avoid the vulnerability that comes with admitting our limitations. However, the consequences can be significant, leading to stress, burnout, and subpar results. Recognizing our true capabilities is essential for setting realistic goals and achieving them without unnecessary strain. Avoiding responsibility. Another common way we deceive ourselves is by avoiding responsibility. This might involve blaming others for our problems, downplaying our role in a situation, or simply procrastinating on tasks we know we need to handle. For instance, have you ever put off dealing with a conflict at work or in a relationship, telling yourself that it's not really your problem, or that someone else will step in and fix it? This is a form of self-deception that allows us to sidestep accountability, but it doesn't actually solve the problem. In fact, it usually makes things worse. When we avoid responsibility, we're essentially choosing to ignore reality. This can lead to unresolved issues, damaged relationships, and a sense of powerlessness in our own lives. Taking responsibility, on the other hand, empowers us to make changes and take control of our circumstances. Believing we're always right. One of the more insidious forms of self-deception is the belief that we're always right. This isn't just about being stubborn, it's about how we process information that challenges our views. Consider a time when you were in an argument with someone and refused to acknowledge their perspective, even when presented with clear evidence. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that our viewpoint is the only valid one, especially when our ego is on the line. This type of self-deception can be particularly damaging because it isolates us from new ideas and prevents us from learning. By convincing ourselves that we're always right, we miss out on opportunities to grow and improve. It's important to remain open to the possibility that we could be wrong and to approach situations with a mindset of curiosity rather than certainty. Minimizing our problems. Finally, let's discuss minimizing our problems. This is a form of self-deception where we downplay the significance of issues in our lives, convincing ourselves that they're not as serious as they really are. For example, if you're experiencing stress at work, you might tell yourself that it's no big deal and that everyone feels this way. Or, if you're struggling in a relationship, you might brush it off as just a rough patch. While it's true that perspective can be helpful, there's a fine line between keeping things in perspective and ignoring problems that need attention. Minimizing our problems is a way of avoiding the discomfort of addressing them head-on. However, this approach often leads to issues festering and becoming even more difficult to resolve later on. Acknowledging the full extent of our challenges is the first step toward finding effective solutions and making meaningful changes. So, those are 5 common ways we lie to ourselves. The next step is recognizing when we're engaging in these behaviors and taking active steps to confront the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. Remember, awareness is the first step to change. By identifying these common forms of self-deception, you're already on the path to greater self-awareness and personal growth. How to stop lying to yourself. Now that we've identified the ways we commonly deceive ourselves, the next step is figuring out how to stop. Breaking free from self-deception isn't easy, but with the right strategies, it's absolutely possible. Let's dive into 5 key strategies that will help you confront the lies you tell yourself and begin living a more authentic life. Strategy number 1. Practice self-awareness. The first and most crucial step in stopping self-deception is developing self-awareness. Without a clear understanding of your emotions and behaviors, it's impossible to identify when you're lying to yourself. Start by regularly checking in with yourself. This could be through journaling, meditation, or simply taking a few moments each day to reflect on your actions and decisions. Ask yourself questions like, what am I feeling right now? Why did I make that choice? And am I avoiding something uncomfortable? By getting in the habit of self-reflection, you'll begin to notice patterns in your behavior that might indicate self-deception. Remember, self-awareness isn't about judging yourself, It's about observing your thoughts and actions with curiosity and compassion. The more you understand your inner world, the easier it will be to catch yourself in moments of self-deception and make conscious choices instead. Strategy number 2. Embrace discomfort. One of the main reasons we lie to ourselves is to avoid discomfort. Whether it's the discomfort of facing our flaws, admitting mistakes, or dealing with difficult emotions, we often choose the path of least resistance. But growth happens when we step outside of our comfort zones. To break free from self-deception, you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. This means confronting the truths you've been avoiding, even when it's painful. For example, if you've been telling yourself that you don't have a problem with procrastination, challenge that belief by actively tracking your time and holding yourself accountable. Embracing discomfort also involves being honest with yourself about your limitations and areas for improvement. It's okay to admit that you're not perfect. No one is. The key is to approach these realizations with a mindset of growth rather than judgment. By facing discomfort head-on, you'll build resilience and open yourself up to real change. Strategy number 3. Seek honest feedback. Another powerful tool for overcoming self-deception is seeking honest feedback from others. Sometimes, it's hard to see our own blind spots, and this is where trusted friends, family members, or mentors can be invaluable. Ask people you trust to give you their honest opinions about your behavior, choices, or even your blind spots. You might say something like, "I've been working on being more self-aware, and I'd really value your perspective on how I handle stress. Do you notice anything I might be missing?" Be prepared for constructive criticism, and remember that the goal is to learn and grow, not to defend yourself. Feedback from others can provide a fresh perspective and help you identify areas where you might be deceiving yourself. It's important to approach this process with an open mind and a willingness to accept that you might not always see yourself clearly. The more you can incorporate outside perspectives, the more balanced and accurate your self-perception will become. Strategy number 4. Challenge your assumptions. Many of the lies we tell ourselves are based on deeply ingrained assumptions, beliefs we've held for so long that we no longer question them. These assumptions can be about ourselves, others, or the world around us, and they often go unexamined. To stop deceiving yourself, start questioning these assumptions. For example, if you believe that you're not capable of achieving a certain goal, ask yourself, is this really true, or is it just a story I've been telling myself? Consider alternative viewpoints and look for evidence that contradicts your assumptions. Challenging your assumptions requires you to be open to new information and willing to change your mind. It's about shifting from a fixed mindset, where your beliefs are set in stone, to a growth mindset, where you're always open to learning and evolving. By questioning the narratives you've built around yourself, you can break free from the self-imposed limitations that hold you back. Strategy number 5. Commit to personal growth. Finally, overcoming self-deception is an ongoing process that requires a commitment to personal growth. It's not about achieving perfection but about continuously striving to become more self-aware, honest, and authentic. Set goals for your personal development and track your progress over time. This could involve working on specific areas where you've identified self-deception, such as improving your time management skills or being more honest in your relationships. Celebrate your successes along the way, and be gentle with yourself when you encounter setbacks. Personal growth is a journey, not a destination. The more you invest in your development, the easier it will become to recognize and overcome self-deception. Surround yourself with supportive people, seek out new learning opportunities, and stay committed to living a life that's true to who you are. So there you have it, 5 strategies to help you stop lying to yourself and start living a more authentic life. Remember, self-deception is a natural human tendency, but it doesn't have to control you. By practicing self-awareness, embracing discomfort, seeking feedback, challenging your assumptions, and committing to personal growth, you can begin to see yourself and the world around you more clearly. The truth might not always be easy to face, but it's the foundation for a life of integrity, growth, and fulfillment. Start small, be patient with yourself, and remember that every step you take towards greater honesty with yourself is a step towards a more meaningful and authentic life. Summary: we've covered a lot in today's video: why we lie to ourselves, the common ways this self-deception shows up in our lives, and most importantly, how we can start to break free from these patterns. But before we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on the bigger picture. Self-deception is a natural part of the human experience. It's something we all do, often without even realizing it. The lies we tell ourselves might seem small or harmless, but over time, they can build up and create barriers that hold us back from living our fullest lives. The good news is that we have the power to change that. By cultivating self-awareness, embracing discomfort, seeking honest feedback, challenging our assumptions, and committing to personal growth, we can begin to see ourselves more clearly. This clarity opens the door to deeper relationships, greater personal fulfillment, and a life that aligns with our true values and goals. Remember, the journey towards greater honesty with yourself is just that, a journey. It's not about achieving perfection or erasing all self-deception from your life. Instead, it's about making a commitment to ongoing growth and being kind to yourself along the way. Every step you take towards self-honesty is a step towards a more authentic and empowered life. So, what's next for you? Maybe it's taking a few minutes each day to reflect on your thoughts and actions, or perhaps it's having a candid conversation with someone you trust. Whatever it is, take that first step today. The more you practice being honest with yourself, the more you'll find that the truth really does set you free. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content on personal growth and self-awareness. And, of course, we'd love to hear from you. What's one area of your life where you've caught yourself in self-deception? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember, self-awareness is a lifelong journey. Stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep climbing the ladder of life, one honest step at a time.